Chairman Newman.
Great.
Yes, sir.
So before we get into the comments and all those kind of things, we'll go ahead and let you file through, get your lunch, and we can multitask and eat and talk at the same time. So we'll line up short with the call. Let's do ladies first, if that's okay. And so let's make our way, and we'll come back as quickly as you can so we can get going. Yes. Yeah, that's right, that's right.
Sit on it, right? Morning on stuff.
Doesn't matter, they told me. Figured I was like, started out.
The new one playing part.
That's what they're.
No. Of course, the mid school plays. Well, it's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
We about finished up with it.
It's been in last 30 minutes.
Long, back then.
Says you can operate down in bunch, but you got it, only be a big.
Says it did approve of it.
And you'll leave your hand up. Nothing about it. But for a week, we can get. We. Understand? And then make sure.
Right. All right, thank you for showing me.
You see that? Legal action, 30 days, you have to do something.
I think that's why I said, I told him after this weekend, then we can get there, see what about, I said, nothing.
Well, what I told her was.
I can't believe I say, oh.
I know you're gonna do all this for a while.
The biggest thing we got was they could do it. It should be fine.
Thank you. Turkey platter. And, salad.
Won't be her.
Mine, that's what I do too. Okay. Yeah, back to, I'm a, I.
You'll grow.
Okay.
Mark, I got something to say.
Okay.
You'll laugh about it. Howdy, sir. Happy birthday, Ron.
Let me get yours for you.
I did it. Thank you, man.
These carry their issue. Oh.
Trying to get on.
I.
Deals with anything. But
Didn't y'all still knee deep in softball, or you slow it down in here?
Well, I'm hoping it's slowing down. for everybody.
I'll be glad when my baseball starts slowing down. I'll probably just kick something else up. Some of them after me to coach a little 9U travel team. I said, well, give me the end of April. But I'll be through with school ball the 29th of April. And I'll just have my little Dixie youth team. So I said, I'll look into it then.
Well, one of them teams, from a list of town, they're going good.
Oh, yeah. Well, Rutland's got the perfect situation there. He pays for everything, so everything's free. So he can go get yeah, my grandson played with him there for a while. And, yeah, he makes it nice. He can go get the best ones out there, cause in fact, he took my best one.
If you're splitting the deal, yeah.
Cause,
More likely they play with you.
it's easy to get them when all you gotta do is tell them to show up. No money.
Oh.
that's, you can't play second. That's,
Yeah.
Lady.
How you doing, Mr. Peters? I'm good, and you? I'm doing good.
Oh, I got your coordinates. Oh, happy birthday. Is that your birthday too?
Think that's it, right? That's what-
76, yeah. I appreciate it. Oh, yeah.
Jeff, birthday too.
Cool.
Listen, I didn't see Jeff. I'm gonna send you and Ronnie.
Yeah, get that. Yeah, we signed it.
Has that guy quit the landscaping team?
What's wrong?
Going now for school. I see them already put a new bid out.
Well,
I get it cheap that for though.
And we're thankful to be here. Dr. Atkinson and Chairman Singletary met with me and Sam Croom, our county manager, a while back, and we discussed some thoughts and some ways we could work together. And we all felt like, rather than just the chairman of both committees coming together and the superintendent and the county manager, why not bring everybody to the table? We value one another. As I look around, what kind of strikes me is that each of us are here because somebody went to a ballot box and voted us into office, both boards. And one of the expectation of those boards is that we work together for the betterment of this county. And our hope is this will set a precedent for other boards being willing to sit down at a table and talk and figure ways that we can, whether it's with resources or brainstorming all the different things that we bring to this table, that we'll be better off. So thank you for being here. We look forward to spending this time together. We do have an agenda that we agreed upon in both of our meetings, so we'll try to stick to that and stick on the schedule. I'll say this to Mac and to all of you, if I can ever be of help, if our board can ever be a help to you personally, please let us know. Thank
Yeah, just to kind of follow up on what Chairman McGill said, it's a pleasure to be here today, but everybody sitting at the table, also want to set a precedent for this as we move forward. Not just Blaine County Schools, but as a county, how can we help each other to build and be prosperous in this county? So that's why the focus of this meeting is here today, so we can all support each other. There's a lot of different levels of folks that's been in different jobs and different things, and it's just an awesome time to be here together and talk through stuff as a board, as both boards. So again, I'm available to be contacted anytime for any type of question, comment, concern, whether it be inside of our schools or outside of our schools. So I just appreciate the opportunity to be here with everybody today. So we'll move on to action item 7, discussion regarding school resource officer program and school safety. I'll ask Ms. Ann Brown and Sheriff Vickers if they want to come forward, or you can stand where you guys are. Your way's easy for you guys.
Have 12 resource officers within the school, and the grant that we get from the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, Citadel State School, is a 2-to-1 match. And so we know that the money that we got from our grant, $264,000, is not enough to cover the 12 officers that we have in schools right now. So we work with the sheriff and the county to make sure we meet that grant and match up with that grant. And the officers that go with the grant are in the middle school and the elementary school. And that's what they have allotted that grant for. But we do have at this time 11 officers and 1 vacancy at a middle school.
I'll echo what you just said. You know, we work very well then. That's who we work with most time. We have problems, problems. And I think they will get it, I think.
The only other exception is we did not, and we still do not have a signed contract. We're still going back and forth with that, but we'll work through it. We're trying to work through it to make it a good relationship and a fit for Bladen County Schools. Okay.
Thank you, Claire. Thanks, Sheriff. Appreciate it. At this time, anybody got any questions, comments, feedback? Say again, now, we're missing one vacancy, but I'm sure that we're probably shared. To be honest with you, we're providing support over here at Bladen Early College, because they have security here on staff. So if you think about vacancies, really, we wouldn't have but 11. So I'm sure that the sheriff, I think it's a D-Town Middle. But
what we're doing is they have 2 at the high school now, so one of those from the high school is showing up at the middle school at this time. And between the Bladenburg schools, there's 1 officer there that has been floating for the last 3 or 4 years. He served both schools.
Just a question, I guess, an overview. I know we're still a ways from the end of school, but how's the school year been as far as safety? A lot of times we don't know about things, we don't have children in the school, so how's it been?
The question is, any concerns or any issues, or how's it been an issue from a safety standpoint with our school?
The safety for us has been great. I mean, we're doing our practice drills. We're doing some drills that are required by the state. We have so many. So the safety has been, I mean, it's no major threat that we've had like in the past this year.
Well, I'm on the JCPC committee, and I'm always amazed at the new ways kids can get in trouble with wearing a hoodie and vaping through their little tie, all kind of things, so.
And the vaping for us has been it was at a high last year at the middle school and high school. But what we're finding now, the vaping is at our lower level, it's like at the elementary school, we have not had the incidents that we had in the past with the vaping at the high schools and middle schools where it was, we had life-threatening, situations last year. This year, it's really at our elementary schools because it's, they think it's candy, they think it's chips, it's things that are being distributed to those students that they think is edibles, but it's not, it has the fentanyl, it has the thing, the THC in it, so. It's more at the elementary level now that we're having to stay focused on those areas. Yes, sir.
I would like to take this opportunity to encourage the school to be more participate into the opioid task force around mental health and stuff, because I know that there's issues in the schools and stuff like this. It's a little different than SORs. But we need y'all at the table. We meet the second Tuesday of every month at 2 o'clock at the health department. We can't do this without the school system.
So the representatives, I think was it Dr. Hickory or Dr. Thomas?
I don't know who it is. I just need more people at the table to participate in what we're trying to do around this.
You just send me a text message or you send me an email and you promise me you would.
I'm inviting this whole school board and superintendent to be there. I'm not just inviting you. I mean, I think it's important that the school system be at that table.
Or get a calendar invite.
Yeah.
You got a calendar invite, so I'm saying great for me. I'm just saying because it needs to me as many text and email, but calendar invites are great. You guys can do that, and that way we keep everybody on at least give an idea. Because everybody send it back, yes, no, maybe.
So I'll get the invite and I'll, for everybody to get it, because right now, like I said, Dr. Hickory is deceased, so we need to put someone else in play.
Yes, ma'am.
Second Tuesday of every month at the health department at 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
How many, SROs are you short of? Just one?
It's at Easttown Middle, and like I said, they have the 2 at the high school, and one is there.
And what's the annual salary for that basically, base salary? 54.
That's what we had such a hard time. I don't know why the last 3 or 4 years getting that far away. And so we're starting then, we started with the whole thing. To keep them safe. And I want to get that.
All right, thank you.
Anyone? All right, I'll move down to action item 8, review of career and technical education programs and future opportunities. Growing the Lake County workforce, because, I know.
Very good. Y'all mind if I stand up here? I'm gonna go back and I think So, just a quick overview of the CTE program. I'm gonna ask y'all some questions. I want you to think back to when you were in high school. You ready to answer my question, Mr. Bullock? So, think about your favorite classes in high school.
What was your
Math.
favorite classes?
Math. Mr. Bullock,
I like automobile training.
all right,
Yeah, we had training back then.
Welding.
welding. Mr. Ben,
Mine had to be PE.
PE,
Been there ever since.
Mr. Gooden,
That was probably ag.
ag, that's proud. Mr. Britt,
Industrial crop with training ICT as well as government.
okay, Mr. Edwards, mechanics, Dr. Atkinson,
I'm a fan guy.
that's not surprising either. Mr. Tree,
Math.
Matt. Sheriff McVicker.
Math.
Brown. Bill. Ms. Edwards. Ready? Oh, man. Bible ag class. So, y'all tell me what the commonality is. What did I hear a lot of out of this table? CTE classes. Or something needed on, most part. So that's where we were, because nobody at this table is still in high school, right? So I'm gonna take you to where we are now. If you can look in your folder, this paper right here. That one. I'm feeling nervous, I'm appreciating. So what you're looking at is a list of our pathways for career and technical education for this school year. This is what we're offering at both of our traditional high schools. And I know y'all can read, so I'm not gonna read to you, but I'm gonna orient you as to what you're looking at. The class names in the peach column, that's the name of our pathways. And then our students have to take a series of classes in order to be considered completers. So just because it's on the top, animal science. If a student wants to go into the animal science field, they would take animal science 1, then animal science 2, and at that point, they would be considered a CTE concentrator. So now a lot of our second levels have gone to honors level automatically, which is good. The student gets that extra quality point. So just reading down the list, we've got animal science, natural resources, horticulture, ag mechanics, masonry, woodworking, entrepreneurship. JROTC is a new addition this year. They've been with us since July, which has been a long time coming, in my opinion. We have health science, food and nutrition, law and justice, drone technology, and logistics. The logistics sound, I'm gonna explain that to you a little bit because it sounds different than it is. That's warehousing, and we start with a little bit of trucking with our students for that too. So in 2023, 2024, we had 384 CTE concentrators that year. So that means that many kids completed their pathway with us.
What's that number?
This is the latest data I have access to, by the way. In that same year, we had 1,685 CTE participants. And that's non-duplicated. So if Mr. Edwards took a first and second level in the same year, we only count him once. Because we can't count him as 2 different people. Does all that stuff make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we do, we look at our past, we look at our present, and what I would like from y'all, not necessarily today, but at some point, we need to look into the future. I've given Ms. Edwards a stack of my cards to distribute if y'all want them. I would like your feedback. I need you to let me know what industries are coming here. How do we need to start steering our CTE program so that we are on the correct track to produce employees for our businesses in our region? So next page. This page right
Wait a
here.
second.
Yes, sir.
Are all these offered in every school and what schools don't have these?
You looking at my notes? We're gonna get to that.
I'll wait.
Okay. So this is just a little infographic that gives you a few little numbers about our CTE program in general. So we look at our biology scores because a lot of our classes teach biology concepts. So CTE concentrators saw a 10% score increase in the last 4 years in biology scores. We have over a 95% graduation rate. DPI didn't measure anything higher than 95%, so it could be higher than that. In 2023, 2024, we produced 2,124 credentials. And that's at a rate of 60.1% proficiency for the credentials. So the state rate that year was 58%. But the good part, in my opinion, just 4 years prior to that, we were sitting at 40.1%. So we saw a 20% increase in credentials earned. Now, I'm going to direct you back to this page. We offer 53 different credentials, and some of them are listed with their corresponding classes on that page right there in the orange section. So one example, if you look down at the drone technology box, we offer a FAA 107 unmanned pilot's license, which is a highly sought after credential. It's a very hard one to earn. That's just one example. So now on to what Chairman Peterson was asking me. So what did you ask me? Were you asking him?
I want to know what schools have these programs and what schools don't have these programs.
So
And grade level.
that's a good question. So everything on this paper is high school, if that answers your grade level question. Our middle school focuses on career exploration.
So all these courses are offered at both high schools.
There we go. So no, sir, is the short answer for that. So-
We will have a question then.
Okay, we do not offer all of these classes at both high schools. However, go ahead.
I wanted to know what West Bladen has versus East Bladen.
Okay, we can go down the list.
Bladen has versus West
We
Bladen.
can go down the list. So both schools have animal science. Both schools have natural resources. Both schools have horticulture. West Bladen has ag mechanics. East Bladen has masonry. East Bladen has woodworking. Both schools have entrepreneurship. Am I going too fast? Entrepreneurship is both.
Pretty slow.
JROTC is both. Health science is both. Food and nutrition is both. Law and justice is West Bladen. So drone's a weird one. We have it at both, but I'm without a certified teacher at East currently. So technically, right now, it's only at West, but we're set up at both schools.
Could not do it online. I didn't get it.
Correct, no ma'am. So that one is so hands-on and the FAA regulates it so heavily that you have to have an instructor right there with them. And then logistics is West Bladen.
Question.
Yes, sir.
I know at West or at East Bladen, in the past, they've had what they call fire academy.
Yeah,
Would that not fall into this?
it's not on that paper because it's housed at BCC now. When Tim Tatum retired, we moved that to under the BCC umbrella, but it's offered on the East Bladen campus.
What schools have the plant system and one below that?
That's both.
Both. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. You're welcome. Yes, sir.
How many CTE teachers do you have at West Bladen compared to East Bladen ratio?
All right, so
Okay, B's and W.
9 and 7, but let me double check that. I looked at it yesterday. 9 at West, 7 at East. Okay, so, along those lines, you asked about the fire academy. So also housed on our campuses, but BCC teaches it, is culinary as well. So, in the fall, culinary goes to West and uses those facilities. In the spring, culinary goes to East and uses our foods facilities as well.
You didn't both get credit for the students. Okay.
So if they take the culinary class, they get credit through BCC. And they're still our concentrator though, so they get that concentrator stuff.
Yeah.
So in general, I can't tell you that they must follow this path, but in general, we put them in foods 1, then foods 2, then culinary, just so that we're not throwing a student in culinary in an advanced skill that doesn't have that good foundation.
Global logistics is where both,
At West,
where, and the fire academy is only at East.
currently, yes.
I thought that was gonna be at both schools.
It's offered to both. We've in the past, we've bused West Bladen to East Bladen. Yes, sir. Did you know?
But you're currently not doing it.
Well, this, I'm sorry, it's at East Bladen. So longer term plans, because we do see this as an issue, what you're asking about programs being at one school versus the other. We have looked at the facilities that are currently at Elizabethtown Middle School. They used to be used as vocational facilities when it was the old East Bladen. We've toured those facilities, flipped switches to see if the exhaust is still hooked up and everything. We would like to bring those Singleton programs to a centralized location and create a miniature career academy, CTE academy. Now, this is not a new concept really. It's done in many, many counties around us. So we have a lot of examples and models to look at to see what we want to use, see what we don't want to use, see what's going to work for our kids and what's not going to work for our kids. But we do see the issue of having programs at one school versus the other.
You.
Okay.
So fire is only offered at East Bladen, but they do the training here at the college. Is that what you said?
No, sir. So the instructor goes to the East Bladen campus. And that's where they do the majority of the training. Now, some of them, they have to go on field trips to get some of their hands on.
They use the BCC instructor.
Correct, yes, sir.
Well, why couldn't you do that at West? Because that fire training is important.
It is.
Volunteer fire departments.
It is important, yes, sir.
Used to be.
Correct. So we have started busing the kids from West Bladen to East Bladen to get that.
My son attended from West Bladen, he went to East Bladen.
Yes, sir.
Can I pigtail off of what Mr. Peterson said? I know 2 or 3 years ago, we addressed and was concerned about the fire. And I had talked to Mr. Tatum, and at that particular time, there was some confusion about the West Bladen principal at the time, so I was told wouldn't get them bused to East Bladen.
Okay.
And the reason that concerned me at the time was we had 4 or 5 fire departments on probation because of lack of members. And as a commissioner and for y'all as well, that was a major concern for us because we all have to have insurance and that affects your ratings to bring your insurance down. And that is a major issue. And what concerned me is when Mr. Tatum said that 100% of his graduating students would work, either go into as a fireman or be a volunteer in our county with the fire department, which was a blessing to hear. And I thought we had that worked out, to be honest with you, that both schools were, just like Mr. Peter said, I thought we were back on track with that program.
So honestly, when Chief retired, BCC stepped in seamlessly. I mean, we didn't miss a day. They started sending he retired in December. They started sending instructors immediately in January. Everything stayed the same. The schedule stayed the same.
Well, I understand that because I'm on the board of trustees at the
Yes, sir.
college representing the commissioners, but I didn't realize we weren't doing it at West Bladen.
I see what you're saying.
Because we need the firemen folks. We need them bad.
Yes. We take the kids from West Bladen to East Bladen.
Kids can participate, we take them to East Bladen.
It varies. We've had them as high as 20, because 20 is where we like to keep that class.
So we are taking them from West. Okay, that answered my, because I knew that was the direction we were gonna go. So, and I think you might want to clarify that so Charles would know.
Superintendent, Dr. X.
So, one thing too is, like in the fire academy, we are providing transport. So transportation is not a barrier for any student. We've got folks between east and west, BCC, and even between themselves throughout the days. But as Ms. Miles shared, what we're looking at in terms of potentially centralizing that, you would actually be essentially in the middle of both high schools. You'll take a mile or two on each side. But so that would actually take some of that transportation burden off, or be a part of the county there in town, and to repurpose those facilities. They're actually in very good shape considering to be a little bit of TLC there to get that to happen. But that's one thing we have done in the last probably 3 or 4 years is adding that transportation component. Yes, there's a cost, but it takes away a barrier that those students, regardless of what school they go to, that have access to these programs. So the principals have been real good about communicating and working out their schedules. And so if something had to be hosted somewhere in a single site, it's just, I think this vision for having that CTE mini academy centralized would even help that transportation cost, but also put it to where, instructors are not having to move. They've got a set place. It's like, for example, ag mechanics that's at West Bladen now, be able to centralize that. So it would also support decreased transportation costs, but increase. And the goal would be also to look at what programs do we not have that we can add. And if there's something the college does that's new, that they could also have a space at that same place to host that there for our high school students. So definitely, I think it's our CT programs are a great part of our educational landscape as a whole. But I think that, taking away barriers and access, and then obviously thinking about market needs, and that's the conversations about the trades and things that what's really needed here. And then Ms. Mize, can you expand a little bit about the internships? Apprenticeships a little bit and what that's going to kind of look like moving forward.
Before you go, can you move, why can't the kids from East End go to West for the drone program?
They can.
They can, you just don't have enough, or they have it.
So the lack of the drone instructor is very new. So we would make those arrangements to make everything accessible.
So before you move on, like careers of welding and electrical and stuff like that, I'll learn about this too. And if BCC is offering that, are we taking advantage of that?
Yes, so
Classes like that.
ag mechanics gives them a little taste of each of those areas that you just mentioned. And then they can get more in depth with the CCP classes. And you wanted me to look at.
How about internships?
Thank you, I'm sorry. So, we have, actually, we did work study last summer and we hosted 7 students within Bladen County Schools. So within the school system, we can expose students to different areas like maintenance, technology, things that lead to a career. We're going to continue that this coming summer with 8 students. And we're also expanding to 40 internships this summer. So it's our goal to do 20 from each school. We haven't forgotten the early college, but those students will be considered based on their district, where their district school would be. So we will have 40 interns this summer, and 8 of those are going to be our work study students.
So I think the long-term goal here is to centralize everything. We always came about on a phone call, kind of riding down the road one day and got some building spaces that we don't utilize. And we just out today and I said, hey, what can we do here? We bounced it off of Dr. Atkinson and said, hey, look, why don't we do something over at the middle school, because it used to be a high school, we already had these bays and classrooms and everything's available. So it kind of gives an idea. Over in Robinson, they have an active campus where they teach construction, electrical, plumbing, automobile, different stuff. So we get everybody to a centralized location, and in your vendors, you think about the lane builders, you think about power crawl, think about logistics. Just a lot of different vendors that are very close by that we can incorporate in this program and provide support for the counties, provide support for jobs, for them as well. Because if you reach out to any of those guys, they're looking for plumbers, they're looking for electricians, they're looking for builders, framers, anything like that. So those are opportunities that we can all derive on what we're doing here to deal with, in the county. So, but Dana's took the bull by the horn and kind of, and started working on different things to get you stuff already on the, BCC. They're doing a lot of things too, from that standpoint. We appreciate, that partnership as well. And, we're seeing a lot of growth in it because every kid don't want to go to college. Some kids want to go to work, and that's what we're trying to build here, a better county and a better world. Thank you.
Sure. So just to quickly wrap up, if nobody has any other.
I just actually misled, don't mind. And I hope that we can find a way to make this work. I remember the ministry classes and woodworking and all those were always at both schools. What has led us to move it into one area and not offer it at both schools? Because my thing is, if we do it for one, we do it for all. We don't open up a door for one child and leave this door closed. We want all doors open. Every child not have that we want to go to college or have that ability. But what has been our position with that?
Okay, so to answer that question concisely, it's really attrition. So as we have folks retire, it's in specialized areas like this, it's hard to pull somebody out of the industry that's making a larger salary and can set their own hours. But the solution to what you're saying is what we're looking at is the centralized location. If we've got one masonry instructor, both schools will be able to take advantage of that one masonry instructor.
Because just to add to what you said, I would think that if we only have one instructor, but we need it at both schools, then that instructor needs to probably be in this school for a certain number of days, and then go to this school for a certain number of days, and then flip back and forth. That way, they are all getting the same instruction.
I see what you're saying. In a hands-on environment, for masonry specifically, it's very hard to duplicate facilities. Because, for example, if we only have horticulture at one school, it's hard to duplicate a greenhouse. When you can bring the kids to the facility itself, it provides a quality education for that student.
So it's either we transport those kids to the school where that facility is, or we put that facility at those schools so those kids can get. So what do you think is the best? What would you recommend?
Yes, ma'am.
What you doing?
Same thing.
Okay.
Centralize it, and
Right.
that means that you reduce the number of teachers required.
Correct.
For each one, And everyone has one.
Right.
So that's, I like it.
Yes, ma'am. And honestly, correct, so and we have, in my opinion, a hidden gem in the middle school because those vocational facilities, I keep looking at David Gooden because he's teaching those rooms, sorry to point at you. So he knows what's over there.
And I would like to add that we do the same thing with the law and justice.
Yes.
We
Yes.
definitely do that at both schools.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I really think that we do.
Okay.
Appreciate doing it.
Hearing y'all echo back what we have been saying is reassuring. So we know we're on the right track, honestly. So I want to draw your attention to a few hands-on skills that you're sitting among, and you probably already know it. The arrangements on your table. Mr. Davis, what'd you see those kids doing outside about an hour before this thing
We
started?
were out there making some pretty plans and arrangements, I'm telling you, it was awesome.
The kids came in, they saw the room, they saw the table, went outside and made the arrangements. The plants on the stage and in front of the podium, they grew those from tiny, tiny plants in the greenhouse all year.
And they,
Yes.
they doing nothing to where they, I mean, they were there.
So the kids are in the back hiding. I probably shouldn't holler and get them out here, but so they're competing tomorrow in floriculture. So we hope they do well. But what I want you to do, well, we'll get to that in a second. The food was prepared by our Foods 2 class. All those students are Serve Safe certified. That's a certification that they can take into the industry and immediately make a higher wage. And it serves as the base for working in the food industry. These are some smart kids, y'all. But take your little piece of paper and I'm gonna make some of y'all mad right here in a second. Turn your paper over, just this paper. They are stapled, so you're gonna have to turn just this paper over. Look on the back of it. If you have a green stamp, we would like to invite you to take a plant home from the stage or in front of the podium. Oh, okay. That's why I was gonna make some of you mad, not everybody.
Grab one.
You might get offered, you get mine.
Today, my birthday.
Only.
I get two.
So, Ms. Brown brought up a good point. I'm sorry. We're working with NC Works as well. They're gonna count toward our students' internships, and that's always been a very good partnership to teach students good hands-on skills that are immediately applicable in the industry. And I just want to close with telling you thank you. I appreciate your involvement and I appreciate you being here and giving us your thoughts and opinion. You got your hand.
I got one question. What about the plumbing industry?
Okay.
Because I know, it's a hard deal to find a plumber.
Yes, yes, sir. That's another one I'll put, I hear it a lot, honestly. It's tough to find a plumber and it's even harder to find a plumbing teacher, but we shouldn't let that stop us.
One comment on your plant, the free one. Last week, my wife had me to come out here. I didn't get a free one, but it cost me a few $100s to come last week to do the plant sale. I was happy.
Thanks, sir.
That's right.
Any other feedback?
Which number we on?
I think it's together number 9.
Okay.
Feedback on 8, so we're good. Dr. Atkinson, the educational outlet facilities, finance and future.
Well, good afternoon again, everyone. Thank you all for being here for this opportunity to come together and to collaborate. Obviously, this is a very important time for us to share some things about this not exhaustive. We may be here for a while, but I just want to kind of give you an overview of some of the things that we have going, some challenges. Again, not all inclusive, but just a snapshot. And when you think about work in the ministry, you think about finding patterns. So you've got facilities, finances, and the future, the 3 Fs. you know, in doing that, we think through, obviously some of the things that we look at in terms of as a system, obviously everything does have an impact on academics. That's our core business that we do. So first of all, I just want to say thank you. Today marks a great opportunity for collaboration between both boards, beginning that opportunity to collaborate even more. I see this in the future being, you know, more often and opportunities, not just to talk at certain times of the year, but as we're working together. Because it does take a partnership. It is a partnership between Board of Education, it is a partnership between with the county commissioners, it's a partnership with county administrative offices, school district administrative offices. It's a collaboration with the community and our business partners, our churches and all that all an important part of what we do. We know that strong schools help to foster these relationships, and we know that strong schools require strong partnerships. And this is an area obviously that we believe that we continue to work on to developing further and to improving. And as we look at where we are, the students of today obviously are not the students of our time, and know that interest and things that are available in the world today are much different. So we have to align ourselves with that work. One thing that we've talked about quite a bit, even in this last presentation with Ms. Mize, is our career technical education program. You know, for a long time in the past few years, they've often said college and career ready. And a lot of the emphasis has been on, we've got to go get a 4-year degree and move on. But we know now, when we look at our landscape, there's a lot of these jobs and occupations and trades and things that are very important. And the students can make a great career path out of them, and how do we adjust to that? Not every student that graduates wants to go to a 4-year university. We have students that want to go to the military. We thank them for that. We have students that are interested in certification, going into law enforcement, emergency services. We have students interested in going to the trades, HVAC, plumbing, and things like that. And that's just to name a few, our culinary program. And so, you know, it's important that we educate children to be successful in their future, whatever path they choose. And with that too, that changing that mindset of it's got to be a college degree. And I think we're making headway there, but for a long time, that was the educational jargon that we heard. And so we know that we've got to adjust. We know that when they look at boards, they, you know, people think dollar signs automatically when you look at that. And we know that's a part of the work, but it doesn't define all of the work. There's a lot more that takes place outside of the dollar. And that collaborative spirit is why we're here today. And so we know that everybody makes a shared investment in education. And when we share that investment, we share in the successes. You know, are there areas that we're excelling in? I believe so. Are there areas that we believe that we can improve in? Absolutely. And so, you know, in doing that we work together to see how can we make these conditions, whether it be facilities or people or resources, how do we make sure that those align with what our needs are moving forward? We know that where we are in today's economy, we know that we've been through some challenging times over the last several years. Between the pandemic, the value of the dollar, all those things that take place. Rising costs have impacted everyone that's sitting in this room, both personally and in our professional world. And we understand that. And we, as a school system, we understand that as county commissioners. We know that we're a big part of what you all help to support. But we also know there's other agencies involved, EMS, fire, rescue, division of aging, all those different areas. So we're a part of a big part of these whole county. And so we understand that. And what we do know is that every decision that every individual and every decision that every board makes does impact the future of Bladen County. And so that's important for us. And as Chairman Healy shared earlier, that you know, this work we're called or elected to serve, and that's in our mind, that's what we're here. We're serving our children. And so that's our future. They're in our classrooms. You know, they're going to be our caregivers as we continue to age. They're going to be the ones that are running our business world. They're going to be the ones that are protecting us in law enforcement, our military. And so our students are going to be our futures. And the experiences and opportunities that we give them are important. And we know there's opportunities if we had an empty purse string that can just get whatever you need was there. There'd always be something we find that we needed or needed to have. And so we understand that, you know, this conversation that we have and as we work through, while we understand finances and it's one of those areas where it's a necessary evil, we understand that's not the only thing, but it's an important thing. We also know that as we come together to do this work, that our shared responsibility is that we can do this together. We can do all we can with the resources that we have to ensure that every student has access to every opportunity that we can make possible. I'm thankful for the work that's stated, the internships, the apprenticeships, the opportunities for hands-on learning that are opening our doors and those programs growing. We see value in being able to centralize some services and things like that, partner with our higher education institutions, BCC. Also, we're expanding. One thing we're looking at now, we're in talks with UCP about extending a TA teacher program. A lot of our paraprofessionals who are would be willing to take that next step, how we can partner to get them that education they need. Also working through our community college as well. I know there's some look at different things for teacher licensure and be able to change those programs to where there's some more apprentice times where they can have some hands-on. So less of the classroom theory instruction and more hands-on. And so we're seeing some change in the education programs. If you've been around or seen some statistics from higher ed recently, there's a lot of folks graduating with education degrees anymore. And we understand that challenge is a lot bigger than what's among us in this room. That goes to a state and national level, especially when we look at some of the things we're going to point out here on the finance side and state as well. We had the opportunity here to work together and collaborate as this is I consider our kickoff day, and we continue to foster and grow the collaboration even more. Is that we'll strengthen the future workforce. We've already kind of alluded to that. Is that, the students of today is our future workforce. And then, obviously, we think about all the things that we do. Education is a central part of several areas. We know that folks have to go to an education program to be trained in every job that's ever out there, even military, even law enforcement. If that's going to be a doctor, pharmacist, no matter what career path or opportunity, education is the core part of that. Our county commission, when you all went through your strategic planning process, education was one of your main pillars in that. You all see that value. Education impacts every other area. And so by doing so, we can build a thriving county as we work together to understand the core of education. But how does that impact our economic growth and our development and those kind of things? So those are all important. We think about facilities, just kind of give you all an overview of kind of where we are right now. And again, this is not a list of needs or wants, just to kind of bring both boards up to speed. Obviously, you all know the Plainview property is vacant, and that is obviously Tar Heel being a pre-K-8 school. And so the board is considering and reviewing possible options for sale of that property. There's some work done on that now. And so hope to next month kind of dig a little bit deeper and see some direction in terms of which way to go. One of the recommendations is looking at the upset bid process for that property. It's about 8 acres on the Plainview property there off Chickenfoot Road. And we have fielded several calls in our office, folks just inquiring about that property. As you all know, it was shared with you all that East Arcadia Board of Education is voted to close East Arcadia effective 6/2026. And those students will be going majority, depending on where they live, some will go to Blaine Lakes, majority go to Clark School Discovery. And then also the board recently, just past month, we examined the attendance zones for the Clarkton area. You all remember historically, I think 2018, when Booker T. Washington closed students that were in the Clarkton area, depending on where they live, were bused to Bladensboro or Elizabethtown. And so with this now, with Clarkton becoming the K school, hope to bring pre-K relatively soon there as well. But there's obviously room there, and so we're looking at those attendance areas, being able to kind of shift, and we'll be maneuvering some of those students back into the Clarkson area. That will also ease some of the overcrowding that's been taking place at Bladensboro Primary and Elizabethtown Primary. I know you all have been supportive of the capital needs program, and We've tried a couple times, and I believe a lot of it has to do with, the reasons we're funding Tar Heel. And so, obviously we'll continue to seek that, because the ultimate goal is that we still have fifth graders that play for Brumwell Town Middle. Fifth grade is one of those tender ages. It's tough for that age group to be in a middle school setting. So the ultimate goal, obviously, is even with the reductions, is to be able to get the additional space at those two locations, and then to move fifth grade back and to make our primary schools back pre-K 5. Now we'll have two K-8, pre-K 8 is Tar Heel, K initially for Clarkton. If we can work it out, we're going to try this summer if we can make it happen to get pre-K there. If not, our plans are in the second year to establish a pre-K because it is definitely needed. And so obviously we know you all see the capital needs and things. There's lots of other needs. We have aging buildings. Even our newest buildings past Tar Heel, East and West Blake, those schools opened, I think, 2001, 2002 timeframe. And there's already significant challenges already, and those buildings are not very old. A lot of work's already been done there, lots of things to be done, and things that's popped up. And so we know and from there, the old East Blaine Town Middle is the next newest and on down. Blaine Lakes is in around that same time that the old East Blaine Town Middle area. That school is an open concept. When you come in, you've got the pods. During that time of construction, that was one of the main things they did. In today's safety world, obviously, that's not one of those things that you see in school construction more. In fact, just like Tar Heel is, and East and West were early on, you've got the all-inclusive school building where you enter in one place. And so thinking about the safety kinds of things and upgrades, creating those vestibules in schools to where it's a holding area, a person doesn't walk in and can go anywhere in the schools. And so part of that safety grant money that we're also looking at as well, and potentially maybe some capital to establish those areas, that's the things that are needed. And so, lots of things here. We could sit here for a long time and talk about all the facilities, but that's the time. Just want to kind of keep moving and toward the landscape. I know we need a little more detail. We come down to you all and share with you about the budget request here soon. But I do want to, kind of touch on, there's a lot of things that we're looking at. We know that funding, and y'all are in the same boat that we're in, the county as well as the school system. Probably in programs outside of education, funding has not kept pace with rising operational costs. And for us, obviously, student needs. And I'll expand on another area here in a moment has been a challenge for the school system, and our staff has worked hard to secure some additional funding, but if that continues, sometimes one-time money comes, it's good for that time, but all these things you recurring supported funds for. Y'all know this because y'all feel the impact as well. All of us do. Lack of a state budget. North Carolina is the only state in the United States that has not had a budget for 25-26, that fiscal year that's there. And so essentially what happened for us in the school system, I'm sure if you work with any state dollars, just roll over what you had. Employees got our quote step increase, but the dollar didn't change. And so, if you ever get a budget, that's going to impact not only the increase of the budget, but also those steps will be moved. And so those are those costs that sometimes they think are hidden, but they do manifest themselves. And so that's been tough. And you all are aware of some of the on-edge moments with the federal money that we felt like the program may be cut. We're already hearing now potentially that some proposed cuts to some of the federal areas already in the next budget to be coming. It does give us some pause as well. Fortunately, we were able to go back and once, I think we're about 2 months into the fiscal year, and finally everything kind of worked out. We're able to kind of maneuver there. But it does make it a challenge because essentially it creates a flat funding type model. And so what happens if there's difficulties in federal and state money, that puts an increased burden on local government. And I know you all feel that too, Commissioner, that increased burden. Because I know we're not the only entity that you all serve that have state funding going to that, as well as federal funding, the programs you all work through. So I'm sure you all are feeling some of those same kind of things as we are in terms of the school system. And then, the rising cost of benefits. Mr. Nolan was on a webinar, our new finance officer was on a webinar, the other day, and they're proposing, I think retirement's going up another 1.3%. What was Mr. Miller?
A little less than 1%,
Little less.
0.75%.
So hugging that 1% area, that sounds a lot initially, but for us, I think on the state funding side, that's about 200,000. That would be
Just from the state.
just the state. That doesn't count for federal paid employees or local paid employees. And so that's just on the state side. They project for us, that health insurance is gonna go from $8,500 to $9,000 per employee. So that's $500 per employee automatic increase. And so, again, some of those things that, for us, when we have employees that are paid from 3 various funds, we're not gonna give just because you are paid the state money, you get this bonus and this other person doesn't. So we have to work through that. So anytime there's something on the state level, it impacts the local side, it impacts the federal. Quite often things happen at the federal side, it impacts your state, it impacts your local. And so those are all things that are important. And so, costs are rising, but the financial side of it is kind of staying flat. And that creates a difficult environment to be in. The one program I went to a moment ago, and I shared that Ms. White Smith and her team have done some work and secured some grant money. We have seen a big increase in needs that have come through our Students with Exceptional Needs program. And we've had ironically, a lot of folks that have moved in from out of state to our area. And they have students that have come with some severe needs and things like that. And so, the way the state funds that is capped off at 13%. On that ADM. And so even if you have above that, it's essentially not funded. Bladen County, in terms of our EC population, the last we looked was at 16%. So already 3% is not captured, that population is not captured in the state allocations. And so there is a separate pot that they set aside with that 13% to help address those needs above and beyond the general state allocation, but that missing. So risk pool money and things like that are some places that the team has worked through to try to secure that. But again, those are essentially Band-Aids, it's one-time money. So you gotta think about the sustainability of it. We're an entity that doesn't turn away students because they have special needs. Some other entities can do that. They can say, I'm sorry, we could not serve your child because they have this. We're not able to, so you go back to the public school. We don't turn anybody away. And so that's one of the things that, when we think about trying to compare apples to apples, a lot of things fall upon school systems that are not necessarily fairly applied to others who may claim that they are by law or written as quote unquote public, and definitely not on the private side. We know that the voucher system, that money's got to come from somewhere. We've seen those reductions and things like that. For charter schools, and I want to bring this point home for Bladen County specifically, we're on target, and Mr. Nolan ran some more numbers again yesterday. Roughly right now, and projection, you've got $1.6 million of local money that as soon as you all send it our way, it goes right back out the door. And that goes to the charter schools. And so they're paying on a per student rate, and it's equal to the local funding. Now, one can say obviously that Bladen County citizen, the money is going to them. We all understand that. But at the end of the day, the operational side of the school system doesn't change. You still got your buildings, still got to keep them maintained. And so, any increase or whatever that comes, there's an automatic movement of money out. And it's not just a Bladen County challenge. Every system, with exception of 3, in North Carolina, has had reduced ADM, whether they go to charter or they go to the private side. And so we know that that is a challenge. One other point that's not listed here that I want to bring to the forefront, we've had a great partnership with the community college and trying to expand those college programs. And Mr. Britt, y'all may have even discussed this in your board of trustees as well. But one thing that we're seeing now that we're trying to move to is an FTE model even for schools. And so if we have a high school student that has been going to the community college and earning courses, which we support them in, but they're only in our building half the day and they're not doing VCC the other half of the day, what they're trying to propose is that the school system would only get half funding for that student and the college would only get half funding for that student. And so that makes it very complicated because number one, we don't want to take access to these programs for our families. It is a big savings. I speak as a parent of a high school senior myself. I saw that tuition bill for the university about to fill out. But I will say, I'm thankful my daughter took advantage of this college career promise program as many do. And she'll be going to UNC Wilmington as a junior. And so, you know, that says a lot for families and the impact. And I will say, I don't know who all knows this, our county commissioners have provided funding to offset the textbook fee for our students. So essentially, our high school students are able to attend these college classes and even on the CT side at no cost to the family at all, tuition side or for the books fees. So that's huge. That doesn't happen every week. So on behalf of school system commissioners, we thank you all for that investment, because that does mean a lot. And so, but we have that. Imagine if we had to sit there and choose. You know, I would not be thrust in that place to say, I've got to think about, well, we've got to stay open and operate. I need our students to stay here. But what kind of disservice are we doing to families taking that opportunity away from them to take advantage of college classes? And so that's something that we hope that do not go down. It will be detrimental to the colleges and to the school systems as well. And so we know that will be something we've got to think about and hopefully advocate for some positive change. Anytime you deal with funding, you know, the inevitable, you've got to look at cost savings. And, you know, the Board of Education administration is having to consider potential reduction in force. I mean, but, you know, in preliminary, again, that's not one of those things you really want to talk about. I do feel that hopefully we'll be able to work through that process. You know, it'd be nice if Raleigh would come out and give us some kind of outlook of things to come and to be better. You know, I've often said it'd be nice to have those kind of things, but you all are, we're all feeling that and seeing that. There's some misinformation going on out there. No one has lost a job. In fact, we're doing everything we can if we have to go this process to preserve jobs through attrition and vacancies, retirements and all that. That's what you want to do. And if you're able to do that, you preserve employment and just have to work through that. But it's a necessary thing. I'm sure that the county government has maybe faced some things like this and maybe facing this before. I think every system, you know, it doesn't just affect the rural districts. We hear Wake County, you know, Dr. Taylor's in Wake County, had a conversation with, you know, he's having second or third time, a different set of reductions we're having to put out there. That's tough. And you've got Wake County, who we think has all the money in the world, we believe, you know, but almost every system is having to evaluate. We're going to have to cut costs somewhere. I will say in our preliminary look, we are doing everything we can. Number one, to not touch the classroom teacher at all. That's our core work. And so if we can find ways to maneuver through vacancies and transfer for all those kind of things, I believe that's what we're going to do. But that's something we're having to really think about. And so, you know, it's tough, but, you know, we're hoping that we can work through that, make it as positive as possible. And obviously the goal is to retain as many people. Our goal is to try to do that for everybody and work through what we have. And again, that's the process that the Board of Education will have to work through as we come in the coming weeks. But again, we keep hoping and looking for something to come, and it might. I hope so. But you know, North Carolina, I think, has fallen to 43rd in I think in teacher pay around that. And so, you know, at one time North Carolina was in the top 15, 20 states, and now we're back down to where we are. It's about making that investment. And again, it's got to start there, because that can't fall back on the local government, can't fall back on the local Board of Education. There's some things that the state's got to do their part, the federal government's got to do their part as well. Our future. And so, you know, I could sit here and give you a list of all these things that, you know, we think about. We're going through our strategic planning process now. But, you know, at the end of the day, our core business is educating students. And so we've got to work through ways to prioritize what's going to bring us improved student outcomes. And I'm not just saying outcomes from a test score. We get so caught up sometimes in test scores. But I'm talking about outcomes for students in terms not just the score, but their academic growth, their credentials, the things they earn, how we work with that. We've already heard those gains in this MISE shared over the last 4 years, going from the 40 percentile to 60. That's tremendous. Ideally, the goal would be, we'd love for every high school student to graduate high school, at least having, if they go to full program, have a chance to take a college class or two, have a chance to get a credential or two. To get to that, because a lot of times they're still exploring what they want to do. But we have a great opportunity to do that. Some of these things don't cost a dime. It's just how we partner together and think through and strategize. I know in these tough times, we have to act with urgency. And because, when we're dealing with our future, that is an urgent matter for us to do. But, also we got to think about, we've got the immediate, but we also got to think about the future as well. And I think the most important thing that we do, and I believe that's happening, and we continue to foster this, we have to stay united in our purpose, even when we have to make difficult decisions. Difficult decisions are hard. It's hard to sit at a table and to share difficult decisions. It's hard to work through difficult and challenging things. But we've got to have the courage and the strength to come together and stay united. We're here for our students, and not just for our students, but we're here for our future, and they are our future. And so this last slide is simply the future of Bladen County is sitting in our classrooms right now. The 3,700 plus students right now today in this county that are sitting in Bladen County Public School System classrooms, that's the future of this county. And so our collaboration, the efforts that we've made are going to truly matter. From the bottom of our hearts, we want to say thank you to our county commissioners, say thank you to our Board of Education members. We know you all do not have easy work, but we appreciate your support, your effort, your service, and diligence, and us all coming together. And I believe today is the start of something great. We continue to foster this work, come to the table, share our ideas and brainstorm, and see how we can come together. Sam, I'm thankful for you. It's been a pleasure meeting you and start to work together and think about some things that we can do from the administrative side to work together between the units. And so we just thank you all so much. I know that we're starting to wind down our time. I want to make sure Sam has some time and will to speak, but if there's any immediate questions or anything you want us to follow back up on, we'd be glad to do that as well. If you don't have that today, you want to share it with us, please let us know. I think Ms. Lauren put one of my cards in the box there for you. And so in your folder, so please feel free to reach out.
What's the status of the, E-Town primary school, the lunchroom, was it supposed to be involved in that or something?
That's part of that capital needs that we're hoping that window should open again in August. We're going to hit it again. One thing that's going to help, one thing we share with you all is we had students eat lunch at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
We're hoping that some of these students moving will help offset this. Some still won't be great, but it is a very small cafeteria. And so part of that, Elizabethtown primary on the docket was to get new lunchroom, classroom wing, multi-purpose. Labor primary would be multi-purpose and classroom wing. So that's still part of that project. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Just wanted to mention a couple of things, and y'all basically just covered one of them, the multi-purpose buildings. And you're gonna be dealing with that overcrowding with some of the changes that are coming. That if we could get those buildings, that would probably finish that up and solve that problem. Also help with the cafeteria problem. Not only that, is these students need an inside facility, so when it's too hot outside, too cold outside, too rainy outside, they can do something inside that would help alleviate that problem too. The main one that I hear, especially in the elementary schools, and I won't mention all of them, sure, but I don't know who can help it. But we need teacher assistants in those lower classrooms. We need them. Whoever can make that happen. I know we ask for them every year. Whoever can make it happen, and I don't know who can, but that needs to happen. Those teachers are struggling. They need help with those small children, large numbers. They need help. So if you can, make it happen. Please do it for them. Do it for the children. We won't hire test scores. We need some TAs in those classrooms.
What level are you talking about, four, below? I mean, you only have it for pre-K through.
K through.
You only have three, so what you're saying, but the state gives you, but you don't have them.
Thank you.
We need one in every classroom. The teachers need them.
used to.
Students need them.
Put the class size legislation in, you had a teacher.
They do
When
it
they put
already.
the class size legislation, they took it away, which they didn't make some sense. I can remember I know, I think back to my time, I remember that being consistent. And there was a critical role, I should have a lot of early development, having those two adults in the room. And, you know, we have some great teachers in our school system. In fact, you can walk in many classrooms, and when they're up and they're working, they're dividing the duties and the ones that's blessed to have. That's not difficult, someone that wouldn't know who's the teacher, who's the teacher assistant, but that tells you the quality of our teacher system, and we do need that. We do need that to get back and be restored, and, you know, that's been a challenge too. I mean, and I understand the class size legislation, but you still need, especially with read to achieve in those early grades and trying to, that early literacy is very, very important.
So maybe this is tied to my question then, because we're trying, what can we do, or what strategies did you plan to put in place to increase the school performance? Because if you look at how the Layton County looks now, that we are not achieving very much from
Right.
So
Well, and see, and there's a couple different challenges there. One, paraprofessionals would be tremendous. One thing our schools have done or doing a better job of is working to recruit back. Have some of our retirees that have stepped back in to help do some tutoring. They can tutor during the day. The research actually tells you that tutoring is more efficient during the school day versus after, because they're engaged. You know, you think about at the end of the day, students and staff have gone through a very long day. And so, one thing that the state would actually help us on, that they would remove that 6 month waiting period and allow retirees to come back up to 100%. That would address a lot of areas that we would have. One thing too that, I think is important is that, you know, the class size legislation stops at 3rd grade. So if you're in 4th grade, we try not to do this, and I don't think we have any, but, you know, 4th grade on, you know, now, used to high school, you're a little more accustomed to large classes. But the more students that you have in there, sometimes the more difficult it falls upon, you know, the teacher, especially, when we think about the early grades going up into, the middle grades. And so a lot of that challenge is, you know, how do we reorganize, how can we think through that? But a lot of it goes back to, we need some of that state funding to be restored. You know, and then we can maximize that time to help them meet those conditions. One thing we did, real quickly, in the fall, in the spring, and our teachers love this, we changed had a modification on our calendar. We did an instructional collaboration day, and teachers from across the district came together with their job librarians and teacher assistants. And so all of our kindergarten teachers were in the same room together, all 1st grade, 2nd grade. That helped a lot because, you know, for a smaller school, you may only have one kindergarten teacher that's in that school. They really have anybody to collaborate with in their building on kindergarten, but we're going to be intentional going to the new year and do that. I intend to do it at least 3 times, beginning of the year, we kick off. Do it again, maybe at that first, grade period, semester change, and then do it again in the early spring to give those times to see how can we work together. You know, because when there's power in that room, when they say, well, all my students are having a difficult time with fractions, you hear that in 3 or 4 schools, well, we need some help there. How can this brain power, our teachers work together? How can we re-strategize? And so it's sessions for teachers, by teachers. And I think that's collaborative efforts, and then thinking through how we can do things. Our pacing guides and all have been fluid all along. And we want it not to be called up, some folks get caught up in scripted teaching, and we don't want that to happen. There's some things you've got to do and cover, but you also got to get that teacher autonomy to be able to teach kids. And sometimes I know that, you know, folks are challenged by the way they have to teach things. I know I've been and saw some problems my daughter had to do. I'm like, why are you having to go that way? I said, let me show you the old school way to do it. But sometimes our folks have to say, look, we're gonna have to go back to the old school way and show you how to understand this problem. And I'm okay with that, because you gotta help them, they gotta understand solutions. That's not what they want you to push for, but at the same time too, you know, we live in a day and time that you've gotta have those essential skills. And so I think honing in, getting those additional support, teacher assistants, to work through tutoring during the school day. As principals, let's think about flexibility and scheduling. And so one thing we're looking at too is maybe change some of our start and end times, and then also working in our schedule to make that more flexible, to where we can keep kids have a challenge and they might do better with teacher B on this module, we flip them over to that room. So be more creative, and those are things that wouldn't cost us anything. It's just a matter of using our creativity and thought process in it.
What's the annual salary of a teacher assistant?
Teacher assistant, I think they are around 28 to 32 in that range. Is that right, Mr. Nolan? I have to look at the salary. Yeah. We can get you the exact number. That would be a zero, coming in zero experience. Yes, sir.
So I hope this ain't a loaded question, but whatever happened to the rebate to Carl Hill Middle School, and is that school closed out?
We are waiting for the IRS to send a check. We have, and I know there's been a lot of, some different shutdowns and things that delayed. We had a group, Focus Mazars, that did all that filing on behalf of the school system. But we have not seen any of that, any return back on that. They did tell us, and I can send Miss Maria the amount to share with you all. I'm saying, I'll ask them, but they gave us a dollar amount. I don't think it was around 1.8, 1.9 million. That was gonna be the rebate back on that, but it's hung up right now from IRS back to Bladen County. That was the last update we had received. But I'll do a check in on that to kind of see what it is. But yeah, that, because you all gonna allow us to, you're gonna let us offset, let that be used as the match for doing these multi-purpose. If we're able to go that route and get that, the only school then who would not have multi-purpose space be Bladen Lakes. Everybody else would have something at that point.
I'd like to share this, and I'll try to be real quick and brief because I know everybody probably got to get back to work. I think this has been very productive, but I think one of the big things that I think we all need to work together on is with our legislators and anybody that can control a dollar. It's beyond the time that the state looks at rural counties, that we're all suffering, we're dying, and it's a matter of time. I live in the real world, and it's a matter of time because we're going there. Sampson's bursted, Columbus is bursted. We're hanging on. We went in our fund balance last year pretty steep, and the year before a little bit. But I share that to say this. If we had the opportunity to build 300 homes this coming year at $3,000 per house for the county for taxes, that wouldn't even be enough if we all used our same money from the previous year, the same budget. That wouldn't even be enough taxes on 300 homes just to do the heat and air needs at the county and the college and repairs this year, not even considering what the school system needs. And I say that some may be laughing, some may be whispering, some may be talking, but I live in the real world. You better be looking to where we can work with people to get more money, because when we sit down and have to look at the budget, we want everything you want. But where's it coming from? That's the problem we have. Where is it coming from? So what I get out of this meeting, we're working together to try to cut expenses and still succeed and achieve what our goals are. But to achieve and succeed is money, and we got to figure out who can help us to get it, because the property owner can't keep sharing the burden. We're in bad times, folks. And I think we're all elected, like I said, by the people, and we all want to achieve the same thing, but it's dollars and cents to help us get to where we want with every conversation we've had today. Thank you.
I like to jump back to the students, and I'll make it brief. We're quick to say that our students in these test scores, these state test scores, they don't match up. But one thing I'd like to say about our students, every year when our students go to the Beta Convention, I hear about Bladen County students. I don't hear Wake County, Mecklenburg County, Durham County, and all those counties that I know got all the money and are getting all the money, and they get everything they want. But I hear a lot about Bladen County students. So they may not be measuring up on some test score that came out of Raleigh from a bunch of politicians, but somebody's doing a good job with these students locally. And these students are certainly doing a good job when they leave the country here and go to the big city. And I'm proud of them. Go somewhere else and see what kind of students they got. And then you'll want to come back home. I can tell you that, because when I retired the first time, I went down to South Carolina and I stayed 8 months. I wanted to get back. We've got good students here. Are they perfect? No, and we're not either. But anyway, let's don't be too hard on our students And our teachers are doing a great job. They taught me in spite of myself when I came through. So I know we had good teachers and we still do. And I just want to put a plug in for them and I'll shut up. Thanks. Enjoyed it. I appreciate y'all meeting with us. Hopefully we can make things better for the parents and the students and the teachers. That's what we're here for.
Brian, playing it quickly with test scores and the performance grades. A lot of people really understand, is that at one moment in time, school, we all know if we don't do well kids. It's 80% of that school's grade, 20% is what teachers do with them every day, all day long. That's an unfair title. North Carolina has one of the craziest formulas of all of them. We need to balance out proficiency and growth. Our kids are growing in Blake County. The data shows us our kids are growing. They're growing great. But we don't see it in performance grade because it only counts 20%. You're not seeing it over. So that's what got to the head. So we've got to change this performance grade because we're making ourselves look a whole lot worse than we really truly are.
Thank you, Dr. Harrison. Same from.
Sure.
Closing remarks, next, please.
Yeah, and I'll make this very brief. Just to take full notes as we have. Just want to start off saying thank you to those who prepared flowers, the food, and presentations, also for Blake Community College for providing us the board members, county staff, field staff, sheriff, appreciate everybody being here today. Also, I thank you for the conversation and information. Please give Dr. Atkinson and myself times to review with our boards, figure out what the next steps in the future meetings will be. Keep it that brief. And like I said, I took good notes today and we'll go forward from here. I'll leave you with this. As God continue to bless us and provide us with the guidance, with his guidance as we go forward. For us in God, we trust.
Okay.
Thanks, sir. Is it okay to do one motion to adjourn? Well, good, all right, I get a motion on the floor to adjourn.
Second.
I gotta say, any discussion, all those in favor, by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thanks, everybody.